The heart of Roseburg, Oregon beats for many things. The historic fairgrounds on the city's south side is one of them, and once a year, ground-pounding NASCAR K&N Pro Series stock cars take home the blue ribbon. It is a county fair atmosphere, and it's fun to be a part of. The 2017 fair wrapped up just a couple of weeks ago, but there's one more big event before school gets started in this area, and that's the K&N Pro Series coming to town, as this guy someday hopes to be one of them. Yeah, thumbs up! The NASCAR K&N Pro Series visits the Douglas County Speedway in Roseburg, Oregon for the Clint Newell Toyota 150. Dave Burns along with Frank Stoddard and Heather DeBow with you here today. And Frank, we've been down in the Midway. It's a great atmosphere. What'd you go for? The elephant ears, the meat on a stick?
I went for the fried dough.
The fried dough.
Yeah, always a favorite.
It's a good call. Cinnamon sugar, love it. Great night to be here. Last year, remember, it was almost 100 degrees during the day. It's been a much better day, although a little bit smoky, some forest fires in the area, but good place to go racing here this afternoon and into the evening. Douglas County right in the heart of Oregon. The championship has gotten good. Eggleston now just 2 points behind Gilliland after that wire-to-wire victory a couple weeks ago, Frank.
Yeah, but I think it's safe to say, Dave, that the top two are going to decide this championship. Third place is too far back.
Yeah, Derek Kraus would like to be there, but it doesn't look like he's going to get it done in his rookie season. Let's head down to Heather.
Thanks, Dave. With just 4 races remaining in the 2017 K&N West season, the points battle is certainly heating up. First and second place only separated by 2 points. Third and fourth separated by 1. But leading the field to green tonight and in second place is Chris Eggleston. Chris, you were able to close the gap after the win at Evergreen on your teammate Todd Gilliland. What is your mindset going into these 4 races as you look to go to your second championship this year?
Unfortunately, we have to win. The 16 crew, Todd Gilliland and all those guys are super strong. We know that. We need to go out there and attack those bonus points and be really aggressive, and we got to go out there and win races. We're not going to win this championship probably by finishing second or third, so we're off to a really good start, starting on the pole. I didn't think we had the car for the pole position, but everybody over at Bill McAnally Racing gave us an awesome Napa filters, belts, and hoses Toyota, and hopefully we can just do whatever we did in Evergreen, lead wire to wire, and go after those bonus points.
Now, last year at this race, you and Todd had an incident with about 40 to go. How are you going to approach tonight knowing that there's going to be hard racing like that on this tight, short track?
I think we should be all right. I mean, Todd and I, we talked about that for a long time, and it was just one of those things, a racing incident where we barely got together, and we've moved long past that, and we're really good both on and off the racetrack. Obviously, it gets really tight off of 2 like we got together last year. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Hopefully we don't give Mr. Bill McAnally a heart attack again, sending 2 of his good cars to the back. So we're just going to do everything we can to keep this number 99 car out front and see if we can lead it wire to wire again.
That's Chris Eggleston with his 4th pole this season.
Well, he's absolutely right, Dave. There was nothing intentional that went on last year. Chris Eggleston was just fighting hard, trying to get the win, as was Todd Gilliland. He got a little bit loose off of turn 2, corrected, got into Todd, and both of them, unfortunately, ended up spinning out.
Yes, lap 115 of last year will be talked about for a long time at Bill McAnally Racing. How about 2005? Let's take you back in the day to a race that had a lot of spins going on as well. In fact, on that day, it was a 200-lap race. There were 6 yellows for 37 laps of caution. And there you see Mike Duncan getting by on the outside. Then Frank loops it.
Yeah, he loops it. It looks like it's somebody's oil or a little bit of residue on the racetrack.
That wouldn't be the end of the spinning, especially for Mike David. Here's one. And then later, another, Frank.
Yeah, he's just going out on his own right there, but he gets a little bit of help off the front of the 61 in turns 3 and 4.
Brett Thompson with the use of the bumper there, but Mike Duncan, that is, would make it to victory lane eventually. And it was one of those, Franks, as much success as Bill McAnally Racing has had here. This was one of the not times Mike Duncan owned that car and won here in the 9.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, what I saw right there had to have been a lot of unhappy drivers that after that night was over.
See, Eric Holmes won 3. That was for McAnally. Austin Cameron as well, driving for Bill. K&N Pro Series Racing on NBCSN is brought to you by K&N High Flow Air Filters and Air Intake Systems, because everyone loves that fast car smell. Welcome back to Douglas County Speedway in Roseburg, Oregon. The Clint Newell Toyota 150 about to get underway. And Frank, they're not going to take a break on this one, nor are they going to be able to change tires.
Well, I think that's good. I think that I liked it when the tires wear out late in the race. That's when we find out who's done the right job saving their tires early.
Heather's got her eyes on several drivers tonight, including this one.
Well, Dave, keep your eye on the number 6 Sunrise Ford of Julia Landauer. She has had a rough season so far and is still looking for her first top 5 finish, but if she can get it done, it might be tonight. She says she really loves racing short tracks, and she had a lot of fun at this race last year, and she said the main thing is if her and her team can have fun, then they will be fast. She had a 5th place finish last season, and she rolls off 6th tonight.
Dave, that's shocking to me that that young lady does not have a top 5 this year. She always has great speed in that race car. Just circumstances haven't worked out her way to get a top 5. Maybe tonight's the night.
Just missed a top 5 in qualifying. Qualifying was extremely close. The top 7 within 1/10 of each other. And if you take out pole sitter Chris Eggleston, the next 6 were within 7/100ths.
Well, this is a tough racetrack to get around, too. So qualifying is going to be crucial. You're not going to be able to just drive through the field at this racetrack.
Up front, it's all Bill McAnally Racing to start. Eggleston, Kraus, and Gilliland, the top 3 qualifiers, and they get the green at Roseburg.
And Kraus gets a good jump right there. He's already getting to the bottom right there. He's going to put Gilliland back to 3rd.
We talked to drivers, Frank, and knowing that that is the key. The low line is the preferred around here, although there's been a lot of talk in NASCAR these days about the sticky stuff. They did treat the second groove with some sort of syrup here this weekend to try to make it more competitive.
Yeah, we saw that in practice. The drivers are moving up there a little bit. I think we're going to be able to see some side-by-side racing here. Not early, Dave. When these tires are really good and sticky, the bottom's going to be preferred. But as guys are able to get their cars to not rotate very good in the center, somebody's going to be able to run the outside that's got a good rotating car and get around them.
150 laps, no break except for the potential cautions, and then no chance to change tires. So they'll have to finish the race on what they start with.
And I said, guys, guess what? Young ladies are going to be able to get their cars rolling through the center here, too. Julia Landauer and Nicole Bihar, they've been extremely fast all year long.
Landauer from New York City originally, Bihar from the exact opposite end of the country in Washington.
Right now, it's Bill McAnally Racing. They're setting a pretty good pace right there, all 3 of them. They got to be careful here that they don't get racing themselves too much early, and all of a sudden the 4th and 5th place guys are just sitting there biding their time.
The pace right now being set by the pole sitter, Chris Eggleston. He is the one pursuing in the championship, and last week, Frank, or last race that is, at Evergreen, really took it to him, leading every lap.
He did, and Todd Gilliland, even though he finished 12th, he had a flat tire. He still didn't have a car that was going to be capable of beating Chris Eggleston. So it's been very interesting to watch the way this season's gone on. Todd Gilliland came out of the gate extremely hard. He won, what, 4 or 5 races in the first 5, I believe. And then all of a sudden, Chris Eggleston has really turned the tide, and he's won himself 4 races here in the last 5 or 6 races.
And the rookie Derek Kraus, right in between. He's been kind of in that position all year long, 3rd in the championship, honing his skills at age 15.
Well, he wants a piece of this action. He watches his 2 teammates. Again, he's a young driver. He's trying to get some experience here by watching Chris Eggleston, by watching the young Todd Gilliland, who's got a lot of seat time, obviously. You look at Derek Kraus. He just sat on the pole in Iowa a few weeks ago in the combination race. That was a strong effort for that young man.
Good look back now at Bihar in the 33 and Trevor Christiani in the 90 car. Trevor from the Northwest as well, has been in late models and I believe is running a modified series this year, the Royal Purple Series, and was leading the championship last time I checked there. He's got some skills.
Yeah, absolutely. If you run those modified, you got some skills and a lot of gumption, let me just say.
Keeps the fenders on tonight, and will try to make that pass on Nicole Bihar, and he'll get through the bottom line, working at the moment as the 90 of Christiani moves forward.
And Nicole's able to slide in front of Blaine Perkins right there. There's Todd Souza in the 13. He's working his way up to the field. He's getting himself 6th in the points right now, so he's somebody that wants to work himself up into the top 5 before year end on the point battle.
Back up front, a little bit of a lead now for Eggleston. What's going through the driver's mind right now, Frank? Because he knows he's only got 1 set of tires to work with, yet he's legging it out over his teammates.
Well, and I think Derek Kraus's crew chief and spotter just came on and said, hey, let the 16 of Todd Gilliland go. It's okay. It's early. Chris Eggleston is running too hard in their minds probably right now. Let Todd go up there and see what he can do a little bit, and just sit there and bide your time. I think it's a smart move by the team of the 19 in Derek Kraus.
Of course, the 16 of Gilliland going for 2 championships, and at this point, just behind Harrison Burton out in the East. but leading here in the West barely.
One thing about it, Dave, when this season's over, if nothing else, Todd Gilliland will be championship tested. He may not win either one of them, but he's going to be championship tested. Harrison Burton's giving him a heck of a battle in the East, and here's Chris Eggleston tonight leading the race. Only 2 points separating them coming in.
Crisscrossing the country and now crisscrossing through lap traffic, trying to catch Chris Eggleston. Just underway in Roseburg, Oregon. 150 laps the total distance. And the 99 of Chris Eggleston has led from the start. He was the fastest qualifier here this afternoon. And he has legged it out just a little bit over the competition.
And he sure has, but Ron Norman here in fourth. What a great qualifying effort for him this weekend. Qualified fourth, running fourth, strong run right now. Will Rogers in fifth, putting some pressure on him. And there's Julia Landauer in the sixth. She's trying to get herself, we talked about it earlier, going into this race. She has not got a top five. She's sitting there biding her time. Maybe tonight's the night.
There you see the best Douglas County finish for Ron was ninth. Ron has been good at qualifying this year. You mentioned that. It's finishing those races in the top three, in the top five that he's still working on. At 48 years young, wants to better his craft and is loving the West Series.
Yeah, it just seems like last year, every time he had a really good car, he had mechanical problems, you know, and so it's great to see 27 laps into the race, he's able to hang on to his strong qualifying position.
Will Rogers right behind him in the 7 car. An interesting story. Ran the East race at Watkins Glen, such a good road racer, and won that race. Also finished second to Kevin Harvick at Sonoma on the road courses. But what about the ovals? Here's Heather.
Will Rogers told me earlier that he feels that things are finally clicking here with this oval stuff. He's coming off of a second place finish at Evergreen, and he felt good about his run at Iowa. Today he's trying to figure out the nuances of this racetrack and the balance of the car. But he does believe that, as Jefferson Pitts Racing usually does, they will be good on the long run.
Oh, there's a nuance from the 40.
Wow, Will Rogers is into it right there.
Oh, and coming through 2 wide behind him, Rogers and Landauer. So getting around lap traffic, not easy on a 3/8 mile oval, Frank.
Aggressive move right there by Julia. Trying to move the 7 of Will Rogers out of the way a little bit here.
It's a battle for 5th. Norman got through in his 4th position. And now they string out just a little bit. That was tight.
Wow, Will really stepped on the gas right there to be able to get back in front of you, Julia. I'm surprised that you see it right there, that the outside had a little bit enough grip for him to be able to power up off the corner and clear her.
See sneaking into the picture behind them as well. That is the 27 car of Buddy Shepard.
Yeah, you know, Buddy actually, an interesting story, he has skipped the race in Madera this weekend where he's leading the overall late model battle for the points championship to come here and run this race.
Behind him, the green and white car, that's Michael Self, Landauer's teammate. So this group all running together now. It appears that, I don't know if the 40 of Ron Norman is holding him up. It is early in the event, just 34 laps completed, 150 the total. So they're just kind of snaking their way through some of these slower cars now.
We got contact in turn 1 here, Dave. Couldn't tell exactly what happened, but Andrew Engerson got the short end of the stick for sure.
14 car is around, first caution of the evening, and we talked about the lap traffic. Andrew was one of those. He was running 18th, had been put down a lap by the leaders at this point, and we'll get a look at it here, see what happened.
Yeah, he was racing close with Matt Levine. I'm not sure whether they made contact or not. You know, Matt was in the lead lap, I think running 13th. Let's watch it right here. There it is. There's Matt Levine on the bottom right there. It looks like he gets a little bit loose getting in, and the 14 of Andrew Engerson is on the outside and just can't hang on to it.
Andrew, the 17-year-old from Lewisville, Texas, getting his first few starts in this series, trying to make a name for himself. So, under caution, Chris Eggleston has handily gotten the lead, and now that lead will shrink away as the rest of the field will be brought closer to him. We'll be back with more green flag action from Roseburg, Oregon. K&N Pro Series West under caution for the first time for tonight's 150 lapper. They'll get the green coming out of turn 4. The control car, the 99 of Eggleston, 16 of Gilliland to his outside.
Not much has changed, Dave, at the front here. Chris Eggleston has pretty much dominated. Let's see what Todd Gilliland on the outside, though, for the first time. He's going to have a chance to get by him.
Nice deep drive into 1 and 2. Side by side, locked and bumping down into turn 3.
Pretty aggressive, 51 laps into the race right there.
A message, perhaps, from Gilliland to Eggleston, and here's one back. Eggleston not giving way.
Now, he's got the preferred line right now. You can see Todd is really fighting his car a little loose on the outside, not having the grip that he wants.
Their teammate Derek Kraus falls back into the 3rd spot there, and then behind them, 4th position to the 40 of Ron Norman, and he's getting a challenge to his inside as well.
Little smoke coming off the 16 right there. I'm not sure there's some tire smoke.
See the 7 of Rogers moving to the inside of Norman. There's Julia Landauer right behind. And Frank, it's funny, because as I was looking for the 7 car back there, I'm reminded of something about this Douglas County Fairgrounds Speedway. This is old school racing. The lighting is not, you know, super bright. Every once in a while you lose a car in the corner there, and that's just kind of classic NASCAR racing.
Absolutely. Oh, and there's the 14 way up the racetrack.
He might have been coming back onto the speedway. They actually pit off of the track here, and I think he was re-entering. Might have caught him out of the corner of my eye there. So up front, the challenge for the lead is still happening between the 16 and the 99.
You know, it's interesting. You talked about the lighting and stuff. The one thing, and it's interesting right there, that Will Rogers spoke about earlier today, was he was really having a problem trying to get his line off of turn 2, because he says that corner is real deceiving for him on how quickly the wall comes up there to you. And it's interesting. At night, that's probably even worse, Dave.
More exaggerated than what he saw during the day. Of course, a one-day show for the West Series here today. Opened the gates early. Teams had a chance to get their cars ready, then practice, then qualify. And now, see what can be done in the race. Blaine Perkins with a lot of trouble. That's the car out front there. The 21 has faded back. Looks like he's had a little contact with someone or something here on the 3/8 mile.
He was in a tight battle there at the back, and I'm not sure whether he bumped wheels with somebody, it looked like. Maybe he's knocked the toe out on his car, but he's definitely fading.
Yeah, the 21 of Perkins goes a lap down as the battle for the lead continues. Locked to the back bumper of the 99 is the 16 of Gilliland. It's got to be such a fun feeling when you know, Frank, that your car is just as good as a guy ahead of you. You're just looking for an opportunity.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a fun feeling for Chris Eggleston right now, because I look at that 16. He's really cutting the center of the corner really extremely well. His car, his nose stays a little bit lower in the middle of the corner, and he's really putting the pressure on Chris Eggleston right now.
A contrast between the two. Chris Eggleston has been there, done that, seen that. The youngster is Gilliland. They're both champions in this series. They both drive for the same team owner. It's just been so fun to watch them battle out front all year long again.
You have to wonder right now, maybe Bill McAnally, the strategy he's got is he saw what happened last year between Chris Eggleston and Todd Gilliland. For the folks at home that didn't see last year's race, right like that, off of turn 2, they got together, both spun out. Ryan Partridge went on in 3rd to win the race. Bill McAnally's in better shape this year. He's got Derek Krause sitting there in 3rd, hoping to capitalize.
That's right. Spin by Ron Norman now in the 40 car. We saw Ron in the 4th position as we went back to green. Something has happened to him. We do have a replay.
That's unfortunate. We talked about Ron. He just can't get the brakes to go his way to get himself the finish he'd like.
Teammates with Matt Levine, who was involved in the first caution. Oh, here's Landauer looking for a spot.
Yeah, it looks like Ron Norman gets up a little bit. He's a little bit free right there. I mean, you know, he's coming down. She's trying to get in the hole right there. Tough short track racing right there. I mean, Ron Norman gave her too much of an opening getting down into the corner, in my estimation. Looked like maybe he got a little bit loose on braking on entry, and it gave her the hole. And unfortunately, short end of the stick for Ron Norman.
The yellow flag displayed. Gilliland and Eggleston will have another restart coming back. Roseburg, Oregon. It is the county seat of Douglas County, and at the southern end of town, there's a great fairgrounds raceway, which has been here since 1966. Tonight's K&N Pro Series West action, just the latest installment of that. We've had a couple of spins so far, Frank.
Yeah, not too bad, though. The racing's been really good. Just a couple of different situations where drivers get a little bit too close, and there's Todd Gilliland getting a little close to his teammate.
The bump, and then maybe the run. We've seen the bump so far, not the run yet. And remember, we've told you a couple times last year, they took each other out and handed the win to another player in the field. So, we'll see what they do here on this restart. As another driver joins the back of the field, the front gets the green.
Good side-by-side battle right in turn 1 right there. Oh, Chris Eggleston moves him up a little bit right there. Derek Krause trying on the bottom.
He took a look, didn't he? Couldn't quite make it 3 wide in the 19 car. And further back, 2 wide battles all the way through. Coming to the halfway point, there's no scheduled break. They know that it's getting closer to the end of the checkered flag here in Oregon.
Well, you know what we need right here for this race right now, Dave, is a blood pressure gauge on Bill McAnally.
He fields the front 3 cars. He's won multiple times here and would like to see one of his drivers in victory lane, not spun out and in the infield.
I don't know whose blood pressure is going to be worse right now, his or the president of Napa.
On the outside, Gilliland. On the inside, Eggleston. Behind them, the teenager, Derek Kraus. And more contact.
Yeah, Todd tried to turn in a little bit early right there and got into Chris Eggleston's right front.
I should remember Gilliland's a teenager as well. And he just gave the bumper to Eggleston.
Wow, that was aggressive.
Finds his way to the inside now. Has the preferred line. Can Eggleston hang on the outside?
Dave, am I missing something? Did they call this an 80-lap race instead of a 150?
Well, and to get ahead and to be the first one to weave your way through traffic, that's got to be one of the things that Gilliland is thinking now.
I wouldn't use my bumper that quick, that early in this race, Dave.
Heather?
A couple of different strategies happening right now for the Bill Nacanali teams. The 19 was told to hang back, save his stuff early on in the race, but after that last restart, they told him to try and run hard and pass the 99 if he didn't get it done within 5 to 7 laps to go ahead and back off. We can see here that the 16 is not backing off and running his teammate pretty hard, just as we saw last year.
Yeah, I would say he's running extremely hard right here. I mean, Chris Eggleston obviously is not wanting to secede that top spot, but you got to remember the reason that Todd Gilliland got the bottom was because he jacked his teammate up getting into turn 3.
And Heather mentioned the 19 of Kraus as well. We saw that more aggressive stance at the opening bell there, and he got down to the inside, but really couldn't make a move on his teammates.
No, and I think that he's being really smart. Again, I joked about it. It's 81 laps into this race, 150 laps long. We're just barely past the halfway point. These guys are acting like there's a $5,000 payout here for the halfway winner.
What a show for the fans right now. Side by side, lap after lap. Gilliland 16 and Chris Eggleston's 99.
And you're definitely seeing where that SERP grip that they put on that second groove is now coming into a play a little bit here. When that you can't hold your car on the bottom quite as well, tires are starting to give away. The extra grip that they've laid down is helping Chris Eggleston on the outside.
It's sort of an industry experiment we're seeing throughout the ranks of NASCAR. In some places it seems to work better than others. Short tracks like this, Frank, it really does appear to make a show an even better show.
And especially, you know, 11 degrees of banking is a decent amount of banking, but it's not 20 degrees of banking where you can really diamond the corner sometimes. I mean, you get a flatter racetrack like this, 8, 10, 11 degrees of banking, you've really got to have a car that rotates the center. And if you don't have extra grip in that second groove, you know, and you don't rotate the center, there is no banking really to hold enough to where you can diamond it and drive off the corner like on a higher bank track.
Chris Eggleston now settles back a little bit to think about his next move. Doesn't want to wear out his tires completely. Remember, the last race was able to close the gap on his younger teammate with a win at Evergreen Speedway, something he said he'd tried to do for a long time. Was so glad to finally win there and close this championship.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I think he's gone back to the second spot about 5 or 6 laps too late. I mean, I believe his crew chief and spotter should have been on saying, hey, listen, 16, Todd Gilliland's got the position on you right now. Back it off. Just fall in behind him here. You can get him back later. Just remember what he did to you going into turn 3. And on the last lap, that's your chance to do the same thing in retaliation. So, to me, they raced side by side for far too long.
A little bit further back, the 9 of Michael Self, the 27 of Buddy Shepard. Michael Self with a big week coming up. He's getting married. Frank. He's going to marry his lovely Dana in North Carolina, but first he's got business to finish up here.
Well, I got to say, Dave, for Michael Self's sake, I hope that you get the name right. I hope it's Dana and not Linda.
Oh, yeah. No, it's Dana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
They're excited about that. That'll be a fun week for them. And the 27 of Buddy Shepard, just his 4th start in the K&N Pro Series, working on Self for that spot. The leaders have found lap traffic again, not hard to do on a 3/8 mile oval. And Gilliland now with just a couple of car lengths. Eggleston still certainly has him near enough to do something near the end of this race.
Yeah, plenty close with 60 laps to go. Good chance we're going to have another caution before it's over.
There's Buddy Shepard again in the 27, driving for Jefferson Pitts Racing. The 17-year-old from Bakersfield, California, had a really great start to his West Series career, had a couple of top 5s, and then came to his home track at Kern last year and didn't have such a great run, but trying to get more and more starts in this series as he's able.
Well, he's done a nice job tonight. He qualified 9th. He's moved up a couple spots, which, again, we talked about earlier. This racetrack isn't somewhere where you start 20th and just drive through the field. You've got to really start yourself close to the front in order to run at the front.
Michael Self doing some ARCA racing as well this year in the 9 car. Actually, it isn't in the 9 car. It's in a differently numbered car, but has had some good runs, a couple of podium finishes recently. to extend or to amplify his racing career.
And he took over for Ryan Partridge, who actually ran that car last year. Both these cars, the 6 and the 9, are owned by Bob Brancati, and he's always got great race cars at the racetrack.
I mentioned Michael's ARCA races this year. The last one at Lucas Oil Raceway finished second, so he's having a good season all the way around, sort of reigniting his racing career and going to school this fall. He said classes just started again for him, so trying to finish up his degree as well.
Good for him. That's tough to go racing every weekend and also do your studying.
Buddy Shepard doesn't care in the 27, that black and red car. He's trying to get through and battling for that 6th position. Self, boy, that car looks loose, Frank.
Yeah, he's studying the rear bumper of Michael Self and trying to figure out how he's going to get by without bumping him.
That might not be possible. Here he comes again, crossing the start-finish line, completing lap 97 out of 150, winding down here at Douglas County Speedway.
Michael Self is extremely loose off the corner right there. There's going to be an opening there for Buddy Shepard if he just keeps putting that pressure on.
32 of Cody Vanderwall gives way, not having his best night tonight, already off of the lead lap. And they continue the battle on the inside. Back up front, Todd Gilliland, 5 wins in the West, 3 wins in the East. It's been a winning season for him. The defending champion of the West Series this year. Because of the way they changed the schedule, he can go for both championships. And he's doing a good job of it so far. We'll be back with more from Oregon.
Takuma Koga. I'm from Nagoya, Japan. United Broadcasting, CKB, JKR, Chevrolet. My racing go-kart start 12 years old. So next step, Formula Toyota in Japan. K&N series, very exciting, so very tough series. I want a couple more top 5 finish.
How about Takuma Kogan? He's been through anything and everything tonight, but to see him battling back and being inside the top 5, taking advantage of being there at the end is really impressive.
I love cycle track racing in United States.
Now he's been doing it in the K&N West Series since 2002. And remember that back in the day footage we showed you from 2005 at this racetrack? He's the only driver in the field tonight who was in that race. Although there was a Gilliland, it was Todd's father, David. Little trivia for you there, Frank.
Well, hey, here's some more trivia, Dave. He may be the only one in the field that can speak Japanese, too.
Oh, well, I wouldn't guarantee that. This is the West Coast.
Okay.
Got a diverse field here tonight.
And, you know, speaking of Takuma, though, think about this. I mean, the influx that we've had of some great drivers from Japan that have come over here, which is great to see. Takuma Sato won the Indy 500 this year. So we're getting a lot of world-renowned folks that are coming to the NASCAR series, and that's what's impressive.
Buddy Shepard trying to make a name for himself, and that 27 car still on the back bumper of Michael Self, and I'm continuing to see that 9 car off the corner, Frank. Looks like that is where Michael's having the worst time with it.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier, a little bit free. It's not going to get better as the race goes on, Dave. I can promise you that. If you've got a car that's tight, sometimes you can fix that a little bit by backing up your corner. But if you've got one that's got wheel spin off of the corner, pretty hard to still be able to accelerate the speed that you want to off the corner and get it to stick. You basically have to slow down.
And they're not going to pit for adjustments. That's, we already talked about the fact they don't have extra set of tires to put on, but they're not going to stop, lose all their track position to make an adjustment.
I applaud NASCAR for this. This is a great call on this racetrack. The tires don't fall off that much, but they fall off enough to where handling becomes important. And if you have a 75 lap and a 75 lap run, that just doesn't really accentuate the great car and the great driver as best as a 150 lap straight up race.
So Kraus is in third. Nicole Bihar has fallen off of the lead lap. We got a report from Heather when we were in break that there was some excited radio chatter from Nicole Bihar about something on the 33 that wasn't right, and I think the way the car is running right now certainly backs that up.
Yeah, there's definitely something wrong with her car. We talked about it off the air a little bit. As well as she runs on every racetrack we've ever seen her on, there's a problem tonight. It sounds like there may be a little bit of a miss or something in the ignition system.
Talking to Derek Kraus before the race today, one of the interesting things he told me, Frank, was the differences in the different ends of the track. There's a lack of grip overall, but it seemed like it was worse in 1 and 2 than in 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's different for everybody. I mean, when you look at Michael Self, he looks like he's struggling off of turn 4. Some guys, some drivers just figure out how to turn their car a little bit differently and stuff. It's a unique racetrack because turn 2 and turn 4 are so much different.
Look at the traffic. This is the leader, Todd Gilliland, and he's got a lot of cars to try to get through as he comes up to 30 to go here at Douglas County Speedway.
You know, I talked about we might get a caution here late, Dave, but if we don't get a caution, this is what Chris Eggleston needs to see. He likes to see all this lap traffic because this is his opportunity. The drivers, the lap traffic cars, they really make sure, once they fight the leader usually, but when the second place guy gets there, they seem to let them go a whole lot easier. So it's tougher for Todd Gilliland to get through than it is Chris Eggleston, and so all of a sudden, Chris Eggleston can get back to Todd Gilliland's bumper.
You can see the distance there between first and second. They've now put Ron Norman a lap down. This battle for 6 will not go away as Self is trying to keep his car in front of Buddy Shepard.
And Buddy Shepard looks like he's starting to lose a little bit of grip, but he's trying to move up around this racetrack and figure out where he can get the angle to pass Michael Self. I applaud Buddy Shepard the way he's racing clean and trying to use all parts of the racetrack and make his car better to get around Michael Self.
His first couple starts 2 years ago were in that third car that Jefferson Pitts used to field, the 55 numbered car. And those were, as I mentioned, second and third place finishes. They were top 5s, I know for sure. Ran very, very well. This year, that car has been run by Garrett Archer. Grayson Raz has been in the 27. And tonight, Buddy Shepard for the first time in 2017 running it.
Well, he's doing a nice job with it. Grayson Raz has done a nice job in that car as well. He's been running a lot of K&N East races and some truck races this year for Kyle Busch Motorsports.
It's the idea. Get noticed, run, move your way up the ladder. This, of course, not one of the 3 national series, but considered a national or a regional touring series by NASCAR. Got the East Series and the West Series, and as we mentioned before, this year the schedule's interlocked but not crossing over each other so that you can run both ends of the country if you want to.
And I can tell you this, Dave, both the K&N West and the K&N East are very competitive series. If you want to fine-tune your craft a little bit, you want to move up to the next series, go to look at the K&N East and K&N West series.
Yep, of course, the cars work on both ends of the country, too, so you can basically take it to either series if you want to. Here's Heather with more on Buddy.
Well, Dave, Buddy Shepard is making his season debut, but he does have 3 starts here in the K&N West Series with 2 top 5s and a best finish of 3rd. But tonight is a big night for him because he's currently the points leader at Madera Speedway in the open late models, and he is missing a race tonight and might possibly give up the points lead in order to do so. But he said it's all worth it to get another opportunity to race with Jefferson Pitts Racing.
There's a balance there, right? This is a huge opportunity for him, Frank.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, I'm a little surprised that he, passed up trying to continue to lead the points at Madera, but he obviously feels like this race is more important to his overall career.
Working their way through the traffic, moving to the high side now. You mentioned the low groove seems to be staying, Frank. I know they put some sticky stuff on the higher groove, but it doesn't look like, unless you absolutely have to try it, that the groove on the high side is the way to go.
No, there's no question that the preferred line's the bottom. We always say that 8 tires is better than 4. So if you get down on the bottom, you slide up a little bit, and somebody's outside of you, that works out okay. But if you're on the outside and you slide up a little bit, there's nobody there to help you.
20 to go. Let's see what Gilliland does with this group.
There's Jesse Iwuji in the 36.
He's right in front of the leader. That's going to let Eggleston work right up to the back bumper.
Well, they're double file in front of him. That's the big problem. There's no place for Todd to go. Here comes Chris Eggleston.
Comes out of turn 2 with a look down the backstretch. Eggleston's going to give it a shot right here.
He's there.
Eggleston trying to get the lead from Gilliland, and at the stripe, looks like it's a dead heat.
Now, where's Jesse Iwuji go right here? Is Chris Eggleston's got, he splits him.
Holds his line in the middle. Eggleston down to the bottom. He's going to get the lead outright. Gilliland back to second.
Wow, what a move by Chris Eggleston.
There's Chris now trying to gain momentum and leg it out over his second place teammate.
Wow, he was just sitting there ready to pounce. 16 to go now. This is going to be tough for Todd Gilliland to get back by him.
Right there on the bumper. He's going to give it to Eggleston and down to the inside. Same move that he got to the inside with before.
Wow.
Side by side through 1 and 2.
Wow, he's aggressive tonight.
Does not want to give way. Remember, coming into tonight, 2 points was the lead in the championship, 16 over 99. And the 16 of Gilliland doesn't want to give any up.
No, he wants to make up some more points.
Get the Goodyear rubbed off of the tires there. They're rubbing on each other again. Good short track racing at Roseburg.
Well, we saw early in the race, they ran, what, 10 laps side by side? This could go on all the way to the checkered flag, Dave.
They're coming up to 10 to go. And Eggleston's going to stay with that high side. Big contact now going into 3.
Wow, Eggleston turned down on him because that lap car, the 39, was in the way right there, and he did not want to have to get pinched out. We see some more smoke off the 16 of Todd Gilliland.
Trying to get free of Eggleston. He can't do it. Eggleston again works to the outside. Again trying to pull the nose of his Camry up to the door of the 16 of Gilliland.
Well, Todd's able to clear him right there. Eggleston, is he going to do the crossover move, Dave?
Here he comes down the backstretch, looking to the inside. The 99's going to do it. Will he use Todd's move and use a little bumper? Yes! He moves the 16 out of the way. Eggleston back to the lead.
Well, in fairness, he had the position right there. He didn't hit him in the rear bumper. He was at his door.
Back and forth they go. Eggleston, Gilliland, less than 10 laps to go now.
I just saw a glove on the back straightaway. I think both drivers have thrown their gloves off.
It's a match to the finish here. The 99 of Eggleston has it, but the 16 of Gilliland is not going away. So close. Where does he make his move? He's got to save a little bit too. He doesn't want to completely burn off his tires with just 8 laps to go.
Well, he saved a little bit of the rear bumper right there. He's just trying to get there close, but not moving him out of the way like he has earlier.
It's kind of damage you'd expect on a short track with a fight for the win. Not enough to cause the cars any trouble.
You can see Chris is having to check up in the center of the corner a little bit. He does not, his car is not rotating as well. And that's where Todd's got a little bit better grip up off the corner.
Eggleston was the fastest qualifier for today's event. Third was the 16 of Gilliland. But that bumper, that's as fast as he needs to be right now.
There will be no paint left on Chris Eggleston's rear bumper.
You're exactly right about that. Down to the inside of lap traffic and working their way through, fighting for the finish.
Oh, if I'm Chris Eggleston, I'm awful worried about getting my rear bumper
knocked off again.
Knocked off again.
And I say again because it's been back and forth between them. And I'm not going to say who started it. This is a short track. You work your way through however way you can. And if you think your car's a little bit faster, you give them the bumper.
All I can tell you is the fans in the grandstand are getting a heck of a show here tonight, as are we.
4 laps to go now.
There's Takuma in the 11 on the outside. He's going to give them both room.
Koga stays high. Gilliland is there. More bumper to the 99. Trying to get side by side crossing the line, but Eggleston still has it.
No, he's in there now. Todd's got the run.
Down the backstretch. Side by side. Will he won't even need to use the bumper this time, although he drifts high just a little bit. More contact. Coming to 3 to go.
This is going to be a battle here, Dave. We've seen Chris has been able to hang on the outside.
He's hung on the outside. He's dropped back and done the crossover move. What'll be the way to victory lane for either one of these cars? Contact for sure between the two. Who will have the advantage? 2 to go.
See the launch off the corner right there. You remember that. Chris Eggleston launched to the start-finish line first right there, even on the outside. He got the launch to win the race right there if the checker was coming out.
More contact. Gilliland, Eggleston all over each other now, coming to the white flag.
Oh, Todd carried him way high in the corner right there.
1 lap to go. 3/8 of a mile. Who'll take it?
Does he carry him high again to get the win down here in 3 and 4? That's going to be the question.
Eggleston trying to pinch down the 16 of Gilliland, but coming off of turn number 4, Todd Gilliland is going to win at Douglas County.
That was a clean 3 and 4 right there. He did not run him up the racetrack. He just powered off the corner and got the win.
What a final, oh gosh, 20 laps or so? They were side by side, knocking on each other's bumpers and putting on a show for the fans here in Oregon.
Wow, it seems like for 50 laps of the 150 laps they ran side by side tonight, Dave.
Todd Gilliland has to be just a little bit out of breath, but we're going to ask him a few questions anyway. He's the winner. We'll talk to him in a minute.
I'm out of breath.
K&N Pro Series Racing on NBCSN is brought to you by K&N High Flow Air Filters and Air Intake Systems, because everyone loves that fast car smell. Well, a beautiful evening in Roseburg, Oregon has come to a conclusion with an epic short track battle between 2 teammates.
I was going to say a beautiful evening and a beautiful race.
Victory lane is on the front stretch, as it so often is on the short tracks. Heather's found her way down there, and coming out of the car now, the winner, Todd Gilliland.
Todd Gilliland, your winner here at Douglas County Speedway. Win number 6 of the season. And wow, what a show we just saw from you, Todd. For a minute there, I was wondering what you were doing, if you were gonna have a replay of last year. You and Chris were racing really hard. What was going through your mind in all of that, and how badly did you want this win? Because it sure like you wanted it bad.
This is the one I wanted most. No, that was really hard racing, but I appreciate Chris racing me clean. I definitely used him up there, but it's for the win. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to win them, and for my whole team, for our sponsors, Napa Auto Parts, Frontline, Toyota, TRD. Thank you to those guys for getting us here. And like I said, I used them up. I raced them a little bit harder than I wanted to. I wanted to just drive away, but we didn't. We just couldn't do that. So, it's just what we had to do tonight to get the win, and I'm super pumped for everyone back here.
Now, he got around you there at the end with about 5 to go or so. Were you worried at all that you were going to be able to get him back?
I figured when I was right on his bumper, I was going to get him back at some point, but I was trying to wait till the end to where we could race side by side. But man, what a tough race! That was a lot of fun racing with both my BMR teammates out there for another 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations.
Well, you can hear it right there. There's no question that last year's race and not getting the win was on his mind, and tonight helped soothe that a little bit.
Something more for a multi-time winner to go ahead and check off. There are the results in the top 10. Nice run for Todd Souza in 8th. Trevor Cristiani came home 9th.
How about Julia Landauer finally checking off? You talk about checking things off the list. She checked off the top 5 tonight.
Has been looking for that top 5 all season long. There's Koga, came home in 11th. Nicole Bihar with trouble in the 33 car tonight. Could only do as good as 12th.
Tough break for Ron Norman in 18th.
Here's the other side of that battle to the end.
Chris Eggleston bringing home a 2nd place finish, but wow, was it a rough one. They were telling you throughout the race, protect the bottom, protect the bottom, protect the bottom. You did all you could. Was there anything else you could have done to keep Todd behind you?
Yeah, Todd, I think he had the better car than we did. We just got so bound up in the middle and was lacking drive off. And I knew the only way we were going to get to him was attack him in lap traffic, and we just able to catch him just at the right time. And it looked like he stalled out in 1 and 2 trying to get by the 36, and we were able to pull the Ricky Bobby slingshot and take it 3 wide and kind of rough him up a little bit going into 3. And we swapped the lead several times. And I knew when I got out front, I couldn't run the pace that I wanted to when I was chasing him, just because I would leave the bottom open so much. We just lose the nose every time we go in. And so we did everything we could to play defense. And I couldn't believe how well we rallied on the top side of him on a couple of those last laps. And I thought we were going to roll right by him on the last couple of laps. And I think we would have. If he didn't drive it in so hard into 3, he's doing everything he can to get the win. I probably would have done the same thing. So hats off to those guys. Thank everybody here with Napa Filters, Napa Belts and Hoses for putting me in this race car this year. We lost a couple points tonight, but we'll take everything we learned and we'll go get them at Meridian and see if we can get some of those points back.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, thank you, Heather.
Well, he's certainly a little disappointed, Dave, that he got roughed up, a little much by his teammate. But he's honest enough to say if the shoes were reversed, he might have done the same thing.
Here's a championship spread now. Gilliland gains 3 points. Very, very valuable. It's now 5, going with 3 races remaining.
Well, it is, because one of those tracks is All-America Speedway that Todd Gilliland finished 8th at last year. So Chris Eggleston could really make up some points in that one race.
1, 2, 3 for McAnally.
Finishing up a Bill McAnally Racing 1, 2, 3 is Derek Kraus in the 3rd position. Derek, early in the race, your team, however, was telling you to try to get Todd and Chris, but then they told you to hang back. Do you think you were able to save enough, or do you think that's where you lost position?
Well, we were saving pretty heavy there in the beginning of the race, the middle stages, and then the car kind of fell off. It kind of got really tight in the center of the corner, and then just had too much wheel input into it, and they got really free off. So I heard they put on a really good show up front, so I hope it was really good TV, and hopefully Bill's really happy and we got 1, 2, 3 again, so that's really good.
Well, he's got to figure it out, Dave, okay? He may be young, but he already understands. Make sure the car owner's happy.
Well, I thought really good TV was what he was emphasizing. I like that, too. Hey, our next race, you won't have to wait long. It's coming up next. Modifieds from Seekonk, Massachusetts. You won't want to miss that if you've enjoyed this short track racing from Douglas County. Good day for us here. Good night for us of racing. Thanks to Bill McAnally's 1, 2, 3 up front, but some good battles through the pack all night, Frank.
I'd say it was great battles. Todd Souza started 13th. He moved his way up to 8th at the end. He's 6th in the points. Michael Self and Julia Landauer, we watched them battle all night long.
And a good run again for the 17-year-old Buddy Shepard, coming home with another top 10. For Frank and Heather, I'm Dave. So glad you could join us here tonight from Douglas County Speedway, where Todd Gilliland takes home his 6th win of 2017.